All right, welcome back, fourth graders. So you should have already watched the read aloud for chapter 5 and Number the Stars. Make sure you've done that. If you haven't, go back and do it before you watch this lesson. Okay, so today our learning target, the point of our lesson, is to lodge big ideas in small moments, small details, and small objects. Okay, so an example of this is on the sticky note right here. See, if you see this suitcase, you might remember that from at the very beginning of the year when we read Tiger Rising, and it referred to this object of a suitcase a lot and how Rob just kept his emotions inside the suitcase and he put the tiger on top of it and he didn't think about things. And so this suitcase had a big idea behind it. It was about Rob hiding his emotions. It wasn't just a suitcase. And so today we're going to be looking at some small objects, small details, or small moments in Number the Stars that might also have a bigger meaning. And then you will do the same work in your book. All right. So I actually have another example from Tiger Rising besides the suitcase. Another example of a little object that had a big meaning was Rob's rash. So it meant much more than just being a rash, right? There was a reason it was there. It was very purposeful. And it represented all that sadness that he was keeping down inside of his legs, as Willie Mae helped us to see in the book. So it might have just been a rash, but really there was a bigger meaning behind it, right? So when we are thinking deeply about important parts of the book, there are some questions that we want to be asking. So once you've identified something that you maybe think has a bigger meaning, these are going to help you to figure out what the meaning of that object is. So the first thing it says is just to think about what is significant or important about this part of the story. Next, you're going to think, how does this part fit with an earlier part? Does it connect to what the whole story is really about? Does it connect to something you've already read? You might ask, why might the author have written in this way, including these details or these specific words? And you might think, what is the character learning about life or the world, and what are you personally learning about? So these are going to help you to kind of think about what those small objects really mean when you're thinking deeply about them. So an example of a small object in Number the Stars, the first thing that I thought of that's come up a lot throughout the book are the cupcakes, right? So they keep bringing up this object, this item, this cupcake. And we need to be thinking about, okay, what is the big idea there behind the cupcake? So I put the sticky here again to remind you that we're thinking about small moments, details, and objects. So obviously the cupcake is an object. And we're thinking deeply about this part. So we know that it keeps coming up in the book that they cannot have cupcakes anymore, right? But it's not just about the cupcake. There's a bigger meaning behind them. And so when I think about this, I think, okay, well, the cupcakes have a bigger meaning. I think that the cupcakes are really communicating all of the things that the kids can't have anymore, or all of the characters in the book, right? It keeps bringing up things that they can't have because the Nazi soldiers are limiting them. It talks about electricity in the last chapter that we wrote, that electricity was being rationed. They only had so much to use. And so that's another thing that they can't have anymore, right? And so that's a really important part of the book. I think that that's why the author keeps bringing these up, including these details, because they want you to understand this meaning behind it, right? So now we're going to do the work together for Number the Stars. So I took a picture of this part of the story that we're going to reread really quickly. This is from, the chapter that you read or that you listened to today that went along with this lesson. So I will read through this really quickly and then we'll talk about it. So it says, Lise Margaret, he read finally, and stared at Ellen for a long, unwavering moment. In her mind, Anne-Marie pictured the photograph that he held, the baby, wide-eyed, propped against a pillow, her tiny hand holding a silver teething ring, her bare feet visible below the hem of the embroidered dress, the wispy curls. Dark. So right here it's talking about, again, how Ellen's hair is dark, and so was Lisa's when she was a baby, apparently. And so that's why they were so successful in hiding Ellen there. The officer tore the photograph in half and dropped the pieces on the floor. When he turned, the heels of his shiny boots grinding into the picture, and left the apartment. Without a word, the other two officers followed. Papa stepped forward and closed the door behind him. Anne-Marie relaxed the clenched fingers of her right hand, which still clutched Ellen's necklace. She looked down and saw that she had imprinted the Star of David into her palm. All right. So here, I think that this necklace has more meaning than just being a necklace. A big hint to that is the fact that it's on the cover of the book, right? That seems pretty important. So I talked about how the Star of David is a symbol of the Jewish faith. And now Anne Marie has held it so tightly that it is imprinted on her hand. And so she can still see like that shadow of it there before it fades now that she's let go. So this is the page in your packet that we are filling out today. It says, what is a small detail or event in your book that seems to have a big meaning? And what do you think is the message that the author is trying to send with it? All right, so I included the sticky here again. I included the chart. I know I'm covering it right now, but on the next slide, I think hopefully it's on the other side, so you'll be able to see it. And so they're asking about this necklace for Number the Stars. That's what we were talking about, what we're going to fill it out with. And so I have done this work already. And so I said a small event in the book Number the Stars that seems to have a bigger meaning is when Anne Marie rips Ellen's Star of David necklace off because she knows if the soldier sees it, he will know she is Jewish and take her away. So then I say when she releases her hand, it says that the Star of David's imprinted onto her palm. This moment connects to an earlier idea in the story. So you can actually see this part on my chart here. That's kind of what I was thinking was the big meaning here is how does it fit with an earlier part, right? So it fits with an earlier part of the story because again, I said, it connects to an idea earlier in the story that friends take care of friends always. So remember the last lesson we did, we talked about how the mom said that friends take care of each other. And wow, that seemed really important. That part seemed to stand out in bold. And I think that this supports that. Anne Marie is taking care of Ellen and being brave. She's taking care of her friends, which she admitted she wasn't sure that she would be able to do earlier in the book. And so this connects to an earlier part. Right. So now your job is to do the same work with your book to think of a small moment or a small object that connects to your story that has bigger meaning. And I will actually end on that chart so that if you need it, it's there for you to see, not being covered by my face. And you can use this when you're doing your own work. And then you will bring this to your book club on Friday, and it will be one of the things that we talk about. So we are looking forward to seeing you guys then. Good luck and have a great day. Bye.